A rather slow day in the house, so not the most topics to talk about today. Everybody really just waiting for Thursday to evict Frenchie. So I figured I would try and use the day to talk about the dynamics between the cookout, because the cookout is not a normal alliance that are always plotting together. It's really just an understanding to not target each other and try to save each other. But this has already started to cause some turmoil, inner turmoil within the group because everybody is off in so many different directions. But this was always the plan, to branch off, get close to other people so that if they're targets and you're on the block next to them, you could still be saved rather than being targeted together. But there's still been some turmoil, and a lot of it has had to do with Azza and Derek F being on Frenchie's team, and some tensions with Tiffany and possibly Kyland. Meanwhile, Xavier just kind of sticks to himself. He'll have conversations with some of them at times. And then Hannah, usually off in her own little world, although we'll get to Hannah and Alyssa later. So as I've talked about a little, Azaz's been contemplating why Frenchie should stay and Brent should go up and be voted out. But she also has had the feeling that if somebody were to come off the block, if Brittany were to come off the block, then somebody else from her team would go up from Kyland, because Kyland and Azza had a pretty awkward conversation the other day, because Kyland is not always the best at explaining himself, to say the least. And so he made it seem like, at some point, if a cookout member is at HOH, they're going to have to put at least one person up from the cookout so that people do not get suspicious that they're all working together. And during that conversation, he kind of implied a few times that if somebody came off, he wasn't sure if he should put up Azza or Derek F. But I don't know if that's exactly what Kylan was saying, but like I said, Kylan's very long-winded and definitely talks in circles a lot. But these are really just thoughts from Azza, and I feel like her and Tiffany have squashed some of their tension a few times today. And of course, the fandom, like I said yesterday, won't let Azza live, basically, no matter what she's been doing lately. And I feel like it's just because, everybody's drinking the Tiffany Kool-Aid, and they should be. I mean, Tiffany has been playing the best game. But I do think if somebody in the game disagrees with Tiffany or online disagrees with Tiffany, the fan base is a little overboard already. Because Tiffany has her flaws, as I've been saying these last couple videos. And I think her biggest flaw is that she just gets a little snippy with people and just talks more than she listens a lot. This is definitely, in my opinion, her biggest flaw in the game. Now, I mean, snapping at Derek F a few times about his shit with Frenchie, well deserved by Derek F. Sometimes she dismisses Azza, though, because I think she overly thinks that Azza is buying Frenchie's bullshit. But the fact of the matter is, she's really not. Azza's just coming up with ideas, and Azza was the first person to call Frenchie on his bullshit and to see Frenchie's bullshit. Azza saw Frenchie's bullshit long before Tiffany did. But with the cookout, I just feel like it's really a family thing, honestly. Derek F might be the exception. Derek F goes too far sometimes. He gets pissy at people in the cookout. But this tension, I mean, really works because nobody's ever going to think they're all working together. But overall today, I feel like the cookout mended some of their issues that have been going on, maybe not so much with Derek F. There was a point in the night when Frenchie and Derek F were joking that Derek F's a lawyer, and Derek F said, nah, he thinks Xavier's a lawyer, which is correct. And he kept running with this. And Xavier, I think, was a little upset about that because I don't know if he covered his bases as well. I think he did. I don't think anybody thinks he's a lawyer after that conversation. He played it off as a joke, saying he is a lawyer. It's funny though, because I've been feeling like, for Xavier to become super simp in this game, he's going to reveal he's a lawyer just so Alyssa gives him the time of day. I wouldn't be surprised if he did because of all the simping he's been doing. He just keeps going back and forth though. He is so desperate for one of these girls in the house. He's gone from Whitney to Alyssa, back to Whitney to possibly Azza, but I still think, I don't know. He's desperate for a coupling in this house, and I just don't understand it. Did he just audition for Love Island and just got chosen for Big Brother instead? But all in all, with the cookout, I feel like it's just really is like a family thing. It's like a cookout, like a barbecue, just like any big gathering. There's always some tension in the air between someone, but usually they could talk it out for now. I feel like it's going to get worse as the weeks go on, though, because there's going to be less people to target, and you're going to be targeting people that they've gotten close to in this game. Like if Claire's ever on the block next to Azar or Derek F, is Tiffany going to vote Claire at this point in the game? I don't know. I do wonder, though, if Tiffany got close to Claire once she caught wind that Claire was a possible future target, so that, Claire would go home if it's ever Tiffany and Claire on the block. Because I do feel like at some point sooner rather than later, Claire and Tiffany are going to be seen as a duo. It's inevitable at this point. But for Tiffany's sake, it's going to have to happen earlier in the game because if it happens later in the game, there's a good shot Tiffany gets voted out unless there is a lot of cookout members left in the game also. But Azad today had a good socializing day, despite what social media wants to talk shit about her game sometimes. She was socializing great today. Her and Derek X had a little conversation early in the morning. I think he was the one that put her in a good mood. And the house dynamics continue to be ambiguous because all the talks of the queens and kings working together, they keep putting it off. And I just feel like it has created the dynamic where there really is no sides right now. There's no middle right now. It just feels like everybody is waiting for the next HOH to really see who they're going to fuck with or just try and move with who has power next. Because Kylan's been still keeping the slaughterhouse in mind, despite him knowing that Brent or Whitney needs to go out, but he's keeping it as a fallback plan in case Brent or Whitney become the next HOH. And I guess why not do that for now? Lastly, tonight they got a little bit of alcohol, started playing some Fuck, Marry, Kill. But it was odd because Christian and Alyssa spent a lot of time together all day long, kind of looking like a showmance, that's for sure. They were spooning on the couch at one point during the day for quite a while. But at night, Christian was all over Hannah. And during some of the games they were playing, like Fuck, Marry, Kill, and they like to play Mafia in this house. I love the game of Mafia, but they make it seem so boring. But Alyssa, I think jealousies were starting to show again because of Christian being all over Hannah. There was also some odd game they tried to play where you had to make somebody laugh but do it sexy or something. Christian did it to Hannah. I just feel like Alyssa was steaming. Wouldn't be surprised if all day on Monday, Alyssa's back on her. The girls are jealous of me, and I don't get along with girls, and talking to all the guys about that. Do feel like she's going to be targeting Hannah again, even though Hannah considers her one of her closest people. And I think Alyssa does too, but Alyssa has jealousy issues. There was also a point in the night where Tiffany joked about Alyssa's boobs or having small boobs, and I just feel like Alyssa might be pissed off about that too. But outside of all these petty little games, both Derek X and Hannah said they would marry each other during Fuck, Marry, Kill. So maybe some showmances are starting. But if there is any, it seems to be Alyssa and Christian because they are just all over each other most of the day. But I don't know about what this thing was with Christian being all over Hannah at night. Very strange altogether. Pretty slow day in the house. Didn't have a lot to talk about. I feel like the next couple days are going to be like this until Thursday.